Michelle Ndegeocello, a name chosen by Michelle at age 17, meaning free like a bird. She was born in Berlin but grew up in DC. Her father was an Army Sergeant Major and a saxophonist. Her mother was a healthcare worker. She got to attend the Duke Ellington School of the Arts. Dubbed the spark of the neo soul movement, Michelle uses her voice and her bass like a sort of reverse prism, taking in hip hop, jazz, soul, funk, rock, reggae, and turning into this concentrated, blissful beam of something brand new. This is her debut album, released in 1993 through Maverick Recording Company. She was one of the first artists signed to the label. This is Michelle Ndegeocello's Plantation Lullabies. One of the many reasons to create a new genre for this album is Michelle's adamant rejection of being labeled an alternative hip-hop artist. She quotes Greg Tate in the liner notes, saying, among other things, the only alternative to hip-hop is dead silence. Listening to this CD has done great things for my perspective on the how and why hip-hop came about. From what I can tell, hip-hop is a combination of all those previously aforementioned styles, sort of oppressed brilliance that was stolen kind of by white people and gentrified, I guess is the correct term. It evolves from that past brilliance, taking it in and making something a little more direct, a little more honest, a little more abrupt, I don't know, a little bit more desperate, I guess is the feeling I get from a lot of that, especially faster paced hip hop. Even though this album's over 25 years old and the hip hop genre is even older than that, it still feels indicative of the desperation for fairness and representation in a sort of downtrodden society. But that's enough of my sort of introspective, sad musings on what I think hip hop is and kind of where my perspective is on that. Let's get into the tracks on this thing. The album opens up with a short, super lush instrumental that has the same name as the album. Plantation Lullabies is a piano synth ebb and flow between sort of traditional instrumentation and futuristic new electronic sounds. A simple stripped back intro that leads really nicely into the catchy I'm Digging You. With this track, Michelle encourages the listener to sit back, relax, and listen to the 8-track on this super groovy number. Soulful delivery pulls you through this funkscapade of sound with even a ripping guitar solo stuck in the middle. I can't help but get up and dance every time I hear this one. Shifting to a more traditional, looped backbeat hip-hop track titled If That's Your Boyfriend, He Wasn't Last Night. Tongue-in-cheek, gives me Salt and Pepper vibes, but Ndegeocello whips it into a frenzy with her funky bass every time. Shooting up and getting high. Even though she opens up this track saying this is a song about sadness, it maintains that funky momentum from the last track, even turning it up a bit more. As the title sort of suggests, this song's about doing heroin. It's used to escape the dehumanizing feelings and the capitalistic hand around your throat. The sort of upbeat tone of the chorus makes me almost forget the casually jarring lines that can come before it. For example, the line where she mentions they found God when her lover OD'd, and then jumping into the super danceable funky chorus. Thankfully the themes come and match back up with the tones fairly well on the rest of this album. This next track, Dreadlock, is a soft, sexier one where she creates this scene of total relaxation. It's all about loving and treating her lover right. Not the hugest fan of this track. Maybe it's the lack of my actual dreadlocks that kills the relatability on this one, but it shifts into a track that starts off with an instrumental that reminds me of Ocarina of Time, which is perfect, lovely. It's untitled. It's a chill, soft, drum and synth backed piece of poetry about a black woman loving her son. It ends with a great line. There is such purity in a love that is essential to the loving of oneself. Just a quick, sweet 90 seconds to take a breath before jumping into another kind of love on Step Into the Projects. Jazzy synths, trumpets, drums, and piano, all complemented by a soulful hip-hop delivery make this another catchy favorite of mine. Soul on Ice is a song that takes aim at the culturally idealized perception of beauty. While the bass stays funky, it trends a little bit towards pop rock here. I enjoy it, but at the same time, generally the delivery of the lines here gets a little stale, and once again the tones and themes aren't quite matching up on this one. With a similar message to the track Dreadlock about taking care of your lover, this next song is called Call Me, and I absolutely love the flow in the verses here, but I just find the chorus a little uninspired. Outside Your Door is a sleepy plea about waiting outside someone's door that you've been dreaming about just to get a chance to talk to them. It reeks of desperation. The instrumental doesn't go anywhere. This is a rare case on this CD of something you just kind of skip and forget about. The rest of the tracks, while I do have my complaints, are certainly more than tolerable. Indege Ocello sticks to a similar theme on this next track, but it thankfully is a little bit more proactive than just sitting on someone's doorstep. This one's called Picture Show. Jazzier, funkier, with simple lyricism. This one's a lot more endearing than the desperation that was presented in the last one. But there's still hopeless desperation to be had on the next track, Sweet Love, because it's about loving someone who's already taken. Overall, much more enjoyable than Outside Your Door, though. The album closes out with some more romantics on Two Lonely Hearts, with a piano that sounds like the intro to a soap opera, and then some 80s pop rock instrumentation, all slapped together with some record scratching and that undeniable funky bass. It feels sort of like the dichotomy presented on the first track here. I like that it closes out on a sort of similar feeling. Through her obviously great exposure to the history of black music, Indege Ocello managed to craft herself a whole new musical style with this album. Beautifully formed and pretty well crafted debut effort, Michelle has released 11 subsequent albums, one as recently as 2018 titled Ventriloquism. It's an album that's been described as a place to take refuge from one storm too many. Pretty appropriate for the current global situation, I guess. Hope you enjoyed this review. Hope you enjoy Plantation Lullabies. I certainly do. Maybe get a chance to listen to her new album. Thanks to anybody who made it to this point in the review. If you're new here, there's a little clicky thing to subscribe. There's some more secondhand thrift shop CD reviews over here. I put them out about once a week, so in the meantime, enjoy this, and I'll be back for some more goodies next week. If that's your boyfriend, if that's your boyfriend, if that's your boyfriend, he wasn't last night. Boyfriend, boyfriend, yes, I had your boyfriend.